Committee woman of the Miami-Dade Republican Party, Angie Wong, along with Democratic strategist and civil rights attorney Robert Patillo. Welcome both. Angie, what do you make of the president's campaign stop in New York? Will his crime record help Republicans in the midterm elections? And Bruce Blakeman challenged Kathy Hochul.
I love that President Trump is returning to his hometown. Nassau County is not that far from Queens, New York, where he was raised. So I think it's a great homecoming, and certainly it's going to help out Bruce Blakeman. Some surprising polls came out about Bruce Blakeman, who's running for governor of New York right now. He's neck and neck with Kathy Hochul. I was a little bit surprised to see those polls, but now that they're out there, he's got a really good chance at actually taking back New York, which would help everybody, because now that we've seen the Zohran Mamdani effect in New York City, the only person who can remove him actually is the governor of New York. So I'm hoping that if the crime stats are the way they are and Bruce Blakeman continues the momentum, there's a really good shot that we can take back New York State.
Robert, Mike Carter spoke about Woke One. AOC famously over the weekend said on the Sunday shows that Woke One was crazy, defunding the police was crazy, but they're moving to Woke Two, and Woke Two seems to be defund ICE, abolish borders. It seems to be communism, seems to be more crazy than Woke One. Do you think that Democrats will be successful in leaving their whole defund the police movement behind, and voters will forgive them going into the midterm elections? Is that a sound strategy?
Well, to start, one, woke started when Lead Belly talked about the need for African Americans to be aware of their surrounding in the 1920s and the 1930s. There was no progressive, quote unquote, woke one, other than a term that was colonized from African American communities and then recolonized and bastardized from there. Secondarily, all this concept of defunding the police, the idea always was to reallocate resources for better community involvement in policing to create better outcomes. We have seen nationally over the course of the last decade, those programs have worked. You can look at FBI statistics on violent crime over the course of the last 15 years. Those policies overwhelmingly have worked. But what we have seen is that militarized police departments, more violence in police departments, more arrests by police departments don't have a concomitant effect on actually lowering crime rates. So what I want people to do is have a real conversation and not have sloganeering on what actual policies are that create better safety for communities, as opposed to creating bumper stickers with made-up phrases, of made-up definitions, as seems to be the raison d'etre of the daily conversations that we have. Let's talk about solutions, not make bumper stickers and hashtags.
Hey, I didn't come up with Woke One. That was AOC saying everything the Progressive Party was doing at the time of COVID during 2020. It was out of touch.
And AOC isn't the arbiter of wokeness. Black folks have been saying this for the better parts of 3 generations. So if you're going to take something and then someone else takes something and then you pervert the meaning, you can't go back and say that's what the original meaning was. So let's, instead of having slogans, let's work on fixing some problems.
All right. Speaking of the midterms, Michigan is going to be a battleground state. We've got El Sayed going up against Mike Rogers. There's a chance that Republicans can flip that seat and defeat El Sayed. Today, there is a story that is going viral that's being pushed out by Mike Rogers as well as the senatorial committees of Sayed's record as the health department director when he served in Michigan, and how over 4,000 cats and dogs were euthanized. Angie, I mean, do you think that this is a good attack on Sayed in exposing his record? What do you make of this? I remember when Mitt Romney was dragged over the coals for putting his dog on the top of his car for something much, much less worse.
Yeah, it seems like pets definitely tank campaigns. We saw it with Kristi Noem as well, even though she was successful. But remember this, 42% of citizens of Michigan own a dog or a cat. So this is perfect because Mike Rogers knows he lost his last election by just 19,000 votes. If you have 42% of households having a pet, that's 1.7 million votes that you can grab over. Lots of crossover votes. Clearly, Republicans are trying to activate activists to go against the left, which is what they've been doing to us for many, many cycles. One of the things that I found interesting about El Sayed is that he he blames all this viral video and this smear campaign against him. He says that he inherited this problem of a broken government operations in Detroit for animal services. Well, isn't that going to be exactly what's going to happen if he's successful in winning the Michigan Senate race? He's going to be inheriting a lot of problems. You can't blame it on the previous administration. You know, the buck stops with him, and he just seems to not want to take any responsibility. So this is definitely a clear preview of what he may be like as a U.S. Senator.
Robert, are Democrats concerned? Because if you look at the latest poll out that has Rogers and El Sayed going head-to-head, this is a Fox News poll. White men with no college degree favor Rogers 63%. White men with no college degree with a college degree favor Rogers 55%. White women with no college degree favor Rogers 60%. White women with a college degree, they are the only demographic that actually favor El Sayed, 60% to 35%. Do you think El Sayed's support is broad enough to bring in all of the aspects of the Democratic coalition? Also in this poll, 27% of non-DSA Democrats actually support Mike Rogers, viewing him as the more independent candidate.
Look, we have a very different Republican Party now than the one that I grew up with. I grew up with rock-ribbed conservatives. I grew up with Ronald Reagan, Pat Buchanan. So to hear a Republican U.S. Senate candidate talking about a animal shelter in Detroit that El Sayed took over, reformed, that's the part we keep leaving out. He took over a broken system, reformed it, and dropped animal euthanizations by about 40% over the course of 2 years. So he fixed a problem, and Mike Rogers is trying to make that a campaign issue. And we're going to talk about the record that these people have. I want to talk about Mike Rogers' record of voting for the Iraq War that killed 1 million civilians and drug America into a 20-year military entanglement. I want to know what Mike Rogers feels about the current situation in Iran, and whether or not we're going to have another unlimited forever war that American soldiers are going to be drugged into. So when we're looking at someone like Mike Rogers, we are looking at someone who does not have a backbone or spine to stand on. So he's talking about gossip and an animal shelter. And we're talking about El Sayed building the type of coalition needed. He does so by talking about those across the board issues that matter to Michigan voters. The price of housing, education, whether or not your children will be in safe environments. So if Mike Rogers wants to get into a tabloid fight, he can win that. But I think El Sayed is trying to win a Senate seat. And he's not worried about some of those things.
Well, El Sayed is down 51 to 47% in this poll. It is to Mike Rogers. It is within the margin of error, but this would be a huge pickup for Republicans, given the fact that when they usually hold the presidency, the Senate, and the House, they lose more numbers than the incoming party, than the Democrats. So this would be a big get, Michigan would, and we'll see if El Sayed can broaden the Democratic coalition behind him. Angie Wong, Robert Patillo, thank you both for stopping by. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.